We are back talking about the Premier League for the 2022-23 season. We're here to predict it really early. There's been some huge signings and new promoted teams from the Championship. You must be buzzing, Thogdad.
A huge signing? I must have missed that. But I tell you what, Theo, this is the biggest league in the world. I can't wait.
And because of it, I want 2 likes.
Yeah, no, actually, Theo, I want to up that. I'd like 17 likes, please.
But we're going to get that in.
Yeah, because my family and my friends, actually, that's
If
7.
we hit 17 likes, then we'll do another Premier League predictions a few days before the season starts. This is technically our part 1. We're going to go through the transfers that people make about a month and a half away. But we'll start with this. Thogdad, my 20th place, and we're going to go in that order, is top 11.
20th place? Surely they're top 10, Theo.
Let me tell you about it. It's a free-to-play football management game available on iOS, Android, Huawei, Microsoft Store and web browsers. The game's already been played by over 240 million players worldwide, Thogdad. That's more than people watched our videos.
That is amazing, Theo. Tell me more about it.
As a football manager, you are in charge of every aspect of your club. Signing players, running training,
setting up formations, and, Theo, leading your team to trophies.
You told me you didn't know this game.
I know all about it. It's brilliant.
You can play against other managers from around the world, and the 3D live match mode is awesome because you can be in-game, changing tactics, bringing yourself to attacking if you're 1-0 down. You can make substitutes. 3D live match allows everything to change in a top 11 game. Thogdad, you're going to love this. For this Father's Day, which is actually today, you know.
There's an in-game event that explores how club stories are passed down through the generations.
Like what you did to me.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. It's also a great way to pick up some rewards to start the season. Join it now. Link in my description to download the game. It's a lot of fun, by the way. I've been improving my side. And because I was set in Montenegro, it actually gave me loads of local players, and I'm now signing the England boys back in. But my 20th place is actually AFC Bournemouth. I'm sorry, top 11. And the reason I begin with the Cherries is because their overall squad is decent, but I don't think it's good enough for the Premier League. They need to do some business over the next month. Philip Billing scored a nice 10 goals, got 10 assists. Solanke up top never really proved it in the Premier League. I'm a little bit excited by Jadon Anthony, their winger, who was non-league in 2020, and now he's just smashing it. He's young, he's got potential, but overall, they're not going to survive.
But Theo, Solanke, give him some respect. 29 goals, 7 assists. I know it was the Championship. Surely he's ready for the Premier League.
I've heard this story before too many times, Dad. I don't think his goal-scoring record in the Premier League is compelling enough to convince me that the Cherries will survive.
Wow, Theo, I think you've been really harsh on Bournemouth because my 20th place is, well, it's Bournemouth actually, because they've released Gary Cahill. How can you survive without Gary Cahill?
Well, he does bring Premier League experience. It would have made a little bit of sense to bring him in, even for the dressing room. If he's too old and too unfit, it would have been good to have an older face in.
Yeah, but I look at the squad like you do, Theo, and obviously teams like Bournemouth have got to strengthen. We've not seen that yet. Until I see it, 20th place.
I'll begin with my 19th place. I've gone with Fulham, another team that's come up from the Championship, and unfortunately for the team in West London, I love their ground, love going there, some great away days if you support another Premier League club, but on the pitch, again, it's that story of the striker who hasn't proven it in the Premier League yet. Alexander Mitrovic broke the record in the second division, but it's once again that question whether he'll do it, and he'll not have his second-hand man, Fabio Carvalho, who's off to Liverpool. So they are weakened. They have to do business. I've seen Tim Ream, that centre-back for Bolton. I've seen him in the Premier League. Every time he makes that step up to the first division, he doesn't seem to be able to handle it. And I think they need to really strengthen in many positions, centre-mid, centre-back, and an attacking midfielder.
Wow, Theo, very harsh once again. I'm going to go in 19th with Nottingham Forest, Theo. Brennan Johnson had a wonderful season. He's a talent, but will he stay?
Wait, you're putting Forest to go down?
I am, Theo. You know why? Again, you've got Jed Spence. Will he stay? He was wonderful in defence. He's gone. There you go, Theo. A team like Forest came up through the playoffs. They need to invest heavily. Until I see that, I'm sorry you're going down.
My 18th position, my final team to get relegated. Drum roll, please. It's Nottingham Forest. I'm sorry. It's the 3 teams who got promoted. It's always the easy option when you're doing this. And maybe in a month's time, just before the season starts, we'll look back at our Prem predictions and do our second episode. And we'll change it because of the business that they've done. But the matter of the fact is, 4 of the 11 from their first team were loans. They haven't brought any of them back yet. Samba, with 1 year on his contract. If Forest want to make some money, they have to sell him this summer, and there's been interest. And finally, Jed Spence. He's not coming back. He's probably going to Tottenham. Tottenham have made some incredible signings. We'll get onto that in a second. But Nottingham Forest, they've got an amazing club, a great set of fans. I hope the team create some great business and help Steve Cooper get out of that relegation zone. The next month and a half is crucial.
And Theo, you know what? I agree with you. I think the 3 teams that have come up will be going down as things stand. Fulham, for me, is in 18th place.
Oh, no. Okay.
Now, Fabio Carvalho, Theo, he had a wonderful season. He was in the team of the season along with 4 other Fulham players. Yeah. He's gone to Liverpool, hasn't he?
Yeah, like I said, Dad, they need to invest a lot. And last time they made a whole new team and they went straight back down. Everyone refers to them as being a bit of a yo-yo club. Fulham fans, let me know in the comments below. Premier League fans, will they find a way out? Depends on the business. 17th place, that team to just survive, but it will go down to the wire. I'm going for the Saints, down in south of England. It's Southampton. And quite frankly, I am not convinced by the business that they've done. And if James Ward-Prowse goes in the next month, I'll probably put them to be relegated in the next episode. I'm unsure whether they've got a good enough team. They need a strategic plan. They've got the new Serbian owners, but I want to see some inventive cash invested around the squad to make them a lot better.
Theo, it looks like you've stolen my notes because you know what? Che Adams, Adam Armstrong, guys, you need to step up to the plate and score some goals. Breuer's gone back, like you said. James Ward-Prowse, if he goes or if he's injured, oh my goodness, Southampton, you're going to be 19th or 20th.
16th place, another team that's going to be down there, but will survive. I've gone for Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Whoa, no way, Theo. That's a drop of 6 places.
It is, and quite frankly, if you look to the last 15 games, they finished just outside the relegation zone. From the last 15 games, they picked up 14 points and conceded 26 goals. And if you compare that to how well they were defensive in the first half of the season, it's a completely different story. They didn't score enough. And who will it be next year to score them? Because they haven't done any business as of yet. Fabio Silva hasn't scored last season in the Prem, but he did show some real potential. Maybe it'll be his job next year. Raul Jimenez hasn't been the same player. Pedro Neto was out for most of the year, so maybe he will kick on. But there's a real issue. Hwang Ki-chan hasn't lived up to expectation. There's a lot of mediocrity. And I want to see them do well, but I'm unconvinced from their half season onwards from last year.
Wow, Theo, I've gone for Leeds United in 16th place. Now, last season, only just survived last day of the season. We were there, but they only won 9 games all season. Now, Leeds fans like my brother will say, well, it's because of injuries. Now, Patrick Bamford, of course, was injured. Calvin Phillips was injured for a long time. But there's certain players, I'm talking Jack Harrison, who didn't really perform to their ability. But the main problem with Leeds, Theo, there's 5 or 6 really good players. The defence.
Yeah.
I think it is poor. I think it's relegation standard.
Okay, well, I've put Leeds a little bit nearer to the top of the table. I understand where you're coming from. I actually think they've done some systematic business. But let's move on to 15th, where I've gone for Brentford. Now, again, the London team, they've done really well last season, especially at the end with Christian Eriksen running that midfield. Since he started playing, I think their form doubled. Ivan Toney was scoring goals. Jan Elt was popping in with a few. And just overall, the whole team was quality. But you take that Dane, that incredible world-class level Dane out that midfield, and you're left with a squad which takes a lot of work to get to the same level.
Now, Brentford, I trust in their ownership and in their management. It's a very well-run club. But I agree with you, Theo. Second season syndrome. I'm putting them 15th as well.
So we agree on 15th. And I do believe if Ivan Toney goes this summer as well, they may even fall even lower down the table. It's worrying, but they know how to make a profit. And I think Brentford, I believe in the way that club is run. To know they were non-league just seasons ago or down in League 2, League 1, the way they've bounced up, who says they can't be in Europe in the 5-10 year plan? It's not going to happen this season, to be honest. But I understand where you're coming from. 14th place, Thogdad. I'm picking the Toffees, Everton. Now, I think they'll have a real problem if Richarlison was to leave, and he's getting interest from all over. But I think he'll stay. And when DCL has a fully fit season, that was the issue last year. Frank Lampard gets a pre-season, which he's not had yet. I think they'll kick on. They do need to sign a creative midfielder, and I know by game week 1 that will happen. And they may even succeed even further up the Premier League table. But I'm confident that they're not going to be in a relegation battle.
Theo, what worries me about Everton is what's going on behind the scenes. Now, they're building that incredibly costly ground, which will be amazing, by the way. But during the last transfer window, Theo, their signings were uninspiring, weren't they? Do they have money to spend?
Well, with financial fair play problems, I'm not sure they can go spend crazy amounts. but I think they'll do some logical business to allow them to be better, especially in that midfield position than they were last year. I think Frank Lampard's got a few plans up his sleeve. We'll have to wait for the next month and a half, but I'm confident Everton will be out of relegation zone and start to get in the right direction for the opening of their new stadium.
Theo, but if DCL is fully fit and plays a full season, surely he scores 12 to 15 goals.
Even more. We've seen it from previous years. I swear one year he got nearly 20 goals. We can see that when he's playing regularly and 100% fit.
Theo, if you've not guessed, I agree with you. Everton 14th.
Oh, we agree. 14th again. Funny thing is, we never agree or discuss anything before pressing record. So the fact we've gone 2 now in a row is pretty cool. For my 13th place, I'm going for Crystal Palace. It's been a well thought out plan from Patrick Vieira ever since he's come in. He was once favoured to get relegated from the Premier League, and he proved everybody wrong with a 13th place finish. And I think they'll finish there again. And I know what you're thinking, they've lost Conor Gallagher. They're not going to be the same in the midfield. But what you can't forget is they've got a young team, a great academy, and the likes of Eze and Elise are getting a year older, and especially Michael Elise, I think he's going to shine next season. He's shown a few moments where he's been excellent, but once he gets in that team for a regular, with Edouard, Zaha, who scored 14 goals in the last season, that's underrated in 31 games.
I reckon 13th place will be Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, we're both predicting that they're going to fall away a bit, Theo. Last season, they scored 1 goal a game. They were okay defensively, but as we've said already, if Ruben Neves goes out the door, I'm just not sure where the creativity comes from, where the goals come from. 13th for Wolves.
Yeah, it's a little bit higher than me. I put them 16th. So you're still confident they've got Bruno Lage has got it in him?
Well, I wouldn't call it confidence. Wolves fans expect better. They expect to be pushing for Europe. But it's a question with the owners.
Yeah.
They've not shown that they're going to invest.
They need business.
And then the Fabio Silva thing, that was weird a couple of years ago.
Who's going to score goals for them?
I don't know, Theo.
12th place, I've gone for Leeds United. Ooh. Laugh at me, Thog Dad. I know you put them 16th, which is practically where they finished last year. But what's different to last year is Calvin Phillips and your man Patrick Bamford will be consistently starting in that 11. And you're probably thinking, well, that's not going to change them massively. They've already done some business. Brendan Aronson is an exciting signing. They brought him in from Salzburg, which is the club that Jesse Marsch used to manage, so he knows him very well. And he will add key passes and creativity into that midfield. I actually think if they can hold on to Rafinha, they will have very good link-up. And you said earlier, Dad, you put them in 16th because they're defensive issues. I thought Firpo had a pretty uninspiring season. But guess what they did? They signed Christensen, another Salzburg player, which I've been very excited by. And I think with him being in the Denmark national team, he can play right wing back and right back. He will go straight in that Leeds defence and help sort it out. 12th place, they've done business early, and I'm confident that Leeds will be improving.
Wow, you've just given a very big shout here because you think that Leeds United will finish above Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Do you want to have a little bet on that, Theo?
A little bet. Oh, gosh.
Because I think you underestimate the defence of Crystal Palace.
It is good.
Joachim Anderson, Mark Guehi, Tariq Mitchell. These are some really good players. Now, I'm going to put Crystal Palace in 12th place.
Okay.
Wilfred Zaha up front. Odsonne Edouard, Theo.
Yep.
I think he's going to have a really good second season. Eberechi Eze, Michael Elise. I think I'm being harsh putting Crystal Palace 12th, but they're certainly going to finish above Leeds United.
11th position, I'm backing Graham Potter's Brighton and Hove Albion to finish there.
Yeah.
I thought he had a very good season, considering we looked at it at times, and there were even Brighton fans at one moment calling Graham Potter out, which I find absolutely ridiculous. But yet he still finishes in the top 10. That's what a top manager does. He has underrated performances and collects points against top teams and turns up, especially at the Amex at home. And I think they'll do that again. 11th place is a couple drops from last year, but I'm confident, even though with the loss of Bissouma, they'll smash it. And here is their little gem. Dennis Undav. Now, You have no idea who he is because they signed him last year and loaned him straight back to Royal Saint-Union, something like that in Belgium. And in the Pro League, he was player of the season.
11th for me is Aston Villa, which is a climb of 3 places. Now, towards the end of the season, Theo, they kind of lost interest, didn't they?
I thought you'd put him in a higher bunch.
I thought about it because they've just signed on a permanent Philip Coutinho. That's a world-class player. Boubacar Kamara from Marseille.
You should have asked your Marseille friend Callum how good he is. He was meant to go to a lot of the big clubs. The fact Villa got that done early was incredible.
But what I want to see from Emiliano Buendia, who, by the way, I've rated for the last 2 or 3 years and Leon Bailey. I want to see them show up, Theo.
Let's not
I think if
mention
they
that.
show up, they could be higher than 11th.
The reason I haven't mentioned Villa yet is because they're higher up the table. And quite frankly, it's because of also Diego Carlos, European winner, centre-back. He could bring the best out of Ezri Konsa or Tyrone Mings, depending who they play with him. They have a real strong team. And Steven Gerrard, with his pre-season, I think they could have... look, I'm not mentioning them yet. That's all I'm going to say.
You haven't. You're right. Steven Gerrard has got a lot to prove. He wants to be Liverpool manager in 3 to 5 years. Ooh. He needs to get into Europe with Aston Villa.
Or maybe take Villa to Europe and have some success. Who knows? 10th place, I've picked West Ham. Ooh. Still top 10, but I think they'll fall a couple positions because I'm not confident by the backing that the owners give them. Ooh. I think they need more wealthy owners in the future to be able to invest and take the step up as a football club if they want to be a regular European team, to be honest. And they also have the distraction of Conference League this season. And we know what that does. The likes of Leicester and, I don't know, Villa, Newcastle, they don't have to worry about European football. They can fully focus on the Premier League, and that's it. Whilst West Ham, they are going to have more games, they're going to be travelling more, their players will be more tired come the end of the season, and it's a long season. So even if West Ham much improve and end way higher than Leicester and Villa in the first half of the season, everyone roasts me, never forget that there's another half to come.
Wow, I think you're going to get roasted by West Ham fans, Theo. Maybe. We'll get to my position soon. But 10th place, I've gone for Brighton and Hove Albion. I've already praised them. They only lost 11 times last season, which is the same as Spurs. Very well drilled, very difficult to beat.
My 9th place, I'm going with Leicester City. And I very nearly put them in 8th, 7th. Last year, they had the Conference League distraction. Brendan Rodgers was practically playing 2 different teams in Europe and in the league. And it's very hard to keep the cohesion. This time round, they're only focused on the Premier League. They'll have Jamie Vardy for a full season. Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall's improving. Ademola Lookman brings options into the team. Players like Daka, who were mainly just playing in Europe, will now have to fight for their place in the Premier League. So one of them will have to score goals or they're out the team. Who you got 9th?
In my 9th place there, I've gone for Newcastle United. I think they'll climb a little bit. Now, the bookies have got them 7th. And there's one assumption here, they're going to spend money.
Yep.
Now, they brought in Bruno Guimaraes. Now, that was a masterstroke. He's a quality player. And Newcastle need players of that quality. Alan Saint-Maximin, I want to see more from him, Theo.
I want to see more from him as well. I think Newcastle, when they invest in an incredible winger on the other side, they've been linked with a few. Yeah. You could put maybe their links on the screen, Cassius, our editor. When they do, that might bring the best out of Saint-Maximin. He's got competition on the other wing, and they'll both be going for it. 2 French lads just smashing up the Premier League. Newcastle next season are going to be ridiculous. My 8th position, I'm going straight to it, Thogdad. I'm picking Aston Villa. And you've already mentioned him in 11th. They finished 14th last year, so this is a massive improvement. But you mentioned him already. Boubacar Kamara, I watched him in the Conference League semi-final. That man holds down the midfield. The fact they've done some groundbreaking business very early, so strategic, it stops the world-class teams from getting there before.
Right, Kurt Zouma at the back. Keep your foot off the cats and you'll have a good season.
Jared Bowen will be playing a lot of England football, and that might be a bit of a distraction.
Yes.
Because we've got to think about Qatar now. It's in the middle of the season. Qatar will literally stop this. This is actually an important point. Players like Bowen, all the international players of the squads will be shattered going into the second half of the Premier League, which, by the way, will go on for longer because of it.
But the thing is about West Ham for me, Theo, they're getting 50,000 crowds week in, week out at their home ground. They need to invest probably £100 million to break into the top 6. That's my view on this.
Okay. 7th place, I've not mentioned them yet. I'm not putting them in top 6 as of yet, but in the coming years, who knows? They may be winning the Champions League. It's Newcastle United. It's the Geordies.
Yeah.
And if they finish 7th, I think you'll be delighted. It's a Conference League spot. It gets them into Europe. And I believe in it because of the business that they'll do come the end of the summer and in January. They've just got such a great amount of transfer potential.
They've got loads of money, is what you're saying.
That's what I'm trying to say. They've got wealthy Saudi backers and they've more money to play with than the other teams they're battling out for this European spot.
Right, I've gone for Leicester City in 7th place. We've talked about Jamie Vardy and Maddison and Barnes. They will always provide goals and assists. Wilfred Ndidi in the middle. I'm a big fan of his. The Achilles heel of Leicester City is the defence, Theo. Yeah. Particularly when you've got a couple of injuries. So invest at the back. Well, that's what I say to the Leicester bosses.
If they can somehow keep Fofana, Johnny Evans fit for a whole season, Leicester may even sneak into top 6. 6th position, bottom of the top 6 usual pack, is going to be Arsenal for me. Ooh. And I know what you're thinking, well, the Gunners nearly finished top 4. Theo, you're mugging us off. I know Arteta is bringing those boys in the right direction. It's a young squad, and I think right now it lacks world-class footballers. That's why I recommended that they go out and sign a Lewandowski. It's not going to happen, but if they did, it would completely change my perspective on this team, because Manchester United will go out and sign world-class talent probably this summer. Ten Hag's coming in as well, which is a real good manager. These other teams are signing top-level players, and Arsenal are not. As of today, they haven't made a transfer. Well, they signed one kid from Brazil called Marquinhos. That completely sold me when I saw the notification. I thought it was a PSG one. But they need to do more. Do you agree with me in sixth?
I agree, sixth place.
But look, Dad, can I just point out, when we redo this video in 6 weeks' time, who knows? Who knows? They may have done some incredible signings. Fifth place, Manchester United. Another Europa League year for them. And who knows, maybe they'll win the Europa League this season, which will qualify them for the Champions League anyway. But look, Ten Hag's coming in. They've got rid of a lot of deadwood. Everybody's left, from Juan Mata to Paul Pogba to Jesse Lingard.
Cavani's gone as well, hasn't he?
It's how they reinvest that spare wage budget that they've now got under Ten Hag. I've heard about the links, but there's no signings as of today.
Theo, I agree with you. Fifth place, Manchester United. I looked at their squad and I said to myself, there's 4 players I want to keep. Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Varane and De Gea. There's nobody else I really want to keep in that squad.
That's the problem.
So the rebuild for Manchester United is hundreds of millions and it's several years.
So my fourth position is going to be Chelsea Football Club.
Ooh.
Which is a controversial take, but look, it's been a tough year. Ted Bolley's come in, Abramovich left. There's things been upstairs that they've had to deal with that other clubs haven't. And they haven't made any signings yet. There's links with Ousmane Dembele. Romelu Lukaku's going to leave. Who's going to replace him?
Is he going to leave? Is he definitely going to leave?
Inter are really knocking on the door for Lukaku, Dad. And maybe when this video comes out, this will be a different story. But I'm just saying for now, I am not fully convinced by the Chelsea business this summer compared to the other top 4 that we're going to mention.
I hope Romelu Lukaku stays, earns his place in the 11 and proves everyone wrong, because we know he's capable of scoring 20 goals. We thought that a year ago. Just press reset on Romelu Lukaku.
I don't think they'll do any better than third, and fourth is more likely, because the team we're going to move on to is Tottenham Hotspur in third position.
Yes.
Oh, do you agree? Can you just get it out?
I agree that Chelsea will be fourth. And by the way, Pulisic is from America, not Europe.
Oh, okay. Third place. Come on.
Third place for me is Tottenham Hotspur.
We agree. And the reason I think they'll make that big step up and not bottle it is their summer transfers.
Yes.
We're just at the beginning of, mid-June. Bissouma,
yes.
Jed Spence, and the big one. Come on, Dad, you mentioned it.
Ivan Perisic on a free, Theo.
That's
absolutely
brilliant.
Incredible. But also, I think you've got to go back a few months, because when they brought in Dejan Kulusevski and Rodrigo Bentancur, that side just shifted up a gear.
Everybody half questioned those signings, but Antonio Conte knows when he makes a transfer that they're going to perform, because them two became some of the best players for Tottenham that year.
Yes, they did.
Everyone was like, will they be okay in the Premier League? Are they good enough for the biggest league in the world? They are. Conte knows what he's doing. That Italian manager has got a plan in mind, and it's going to be instant reaction.
They've put 150 million quid straight into the club. Not borrowed, straight into the club.
And if that happens, then they'll definitely make the signings.
That has happened, Theo.
Oh, that's big. Okay. The Premier League title winners of the 22-23 season will be Manchester City Football Club. We both are saying Man City, and maybe that will change in 6 weeks. But Erling Braut Haaland, adding to that squad that they've already got, makes it the perfect team.
Theo, that is the only way to describe it. Now, I know Bernardo Silva might be on his way out the door.
That is a blow.
But even so, the amount of talent in that City team is incredible. But you add one of the best young strikers in the world to that, £135 million of talent. Will he perform from day one? We don't know, but my goodness, he's a talent.
And let's be honest, Cucurella, if they add that to the squad as well, it's just a joke. Him on one side, and then, maybe you can mix it up with Kyle Walker, Cancelo on the other. Who knows? Maybe they'll move Cancelo into the midfield. It is unbelievable. Let's spend some time, though, talking about our second position, the Scousers. They've signed Darwin Núñez.
Yes.
They've got Luis Diaz. Sadio Mane's obviously left. Mo Salah's in the team. It's a new front three, and obviously they've still got Diogo Jota. So let's have your opinion. Why are Liverpool not winning the Premier League again?
Well, I tell you what, Darwin Núñez is a superb signing, nearly a goal a game for Benfica last season. So Liverpool at the front, even with Mane going if that happens. I assume it's happening, isn't it?
It's happened.
Liverpool at the front and at the back are superb. Superb goalkeeper. What worries me that little bit is the central midfield area.
And they need to invest, don't they?
They do, because Jamie Milner is ageing, Henderson's ageing, Naby Keita, some people are raising question marks over him. They need to invest in the centre.
Now, there's a rumour that your team will win the Premier League if you hit the like on this video. And you do know we're on a road to 1 million. Please subscribe. Get us to 1 million. I mean, literally every subscriber counts now. It's such a vital thing. So if you're watching this unsubscribed right now, you're a mug. Simple as. Who knows? One of them two might win a Champions League. It's all up for grabs in the 22-23 season. I'm buzzing to be covering it with you. Please smash the like button. And that's it from us. We're off.
See ya.
Go download Top 11. Don't be a mug. It's Father's Day, as you know, and they've got the new event on. Big them up. Link in description.
Right, I'm going to open my presents now for Father's Day.
And Top 11. You're going to go download Top 11?
Absolutely.
Oh, you're going to go get team sort. See you in a bit.